The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched out like a small city. Thousands of seats curved around the central speaking area in perfect circles. Each seat held a different alien being, some tall as trees, others small as children. Their skin came in every color possible: blue, green, purple, silver, and some colors that had no names. Ambassador Hyunwoo walked slowly to the center of the hall. His black shoes made soft clicking sounds on the smooth floor. Behind him, 3 other humans followed. Admiral Boram wore her crisp military uniform with gold buttons that caught the light. Chief Engineer Ji-ho carried a simple data pad in his hands. Dr. Eun-jung walked last, her medical bag hanging from her shoulder. The 4 humans looked tiny in the massive hall. They were the only ones of their kind present. Among thousands of alien beings, they stood alone. Council Speaker Veltaran sat on the highest platform. His blue skin shimmered under the bright lights. 4 arms moved as he talked, and his large black eyes never blinked. The Altarian was old, even by his people's long lives. He had been the council speaker for over 200 years. The council will now hear the human request, Veltaran announced. His voice boomed through the hall without any machine to make it louder. It was one of his people's natural gifts. Hyunwoo stepped forward. He was a small man, not much taller than most humans. His hair was starting to turn gray at the sides. He had been Earth's ambassador for 15 years. In all that time, he had never asked for much. Honored Council, Hyunwoo began. His voice was calm and clear. For 300 years, humans have served this council faithfully. We have built your space stations. We have fought in your wars. We have healed your sick and solved your problems. Murmurs rippled through the great hall. Some aliens nodded their heads or moved their tentacles in agreement. Others stayed perfectly still. Our engineers built the hyperspace gates that connect your worlds, Hyunwoo continued. Our doctors found cures for diseases that killed millions. Our soldiers died protecting planets we had never seen before. Admiral Boram's face stayed blank, but her hands were clasped tightly behind her back. She remembered those soldiers. Many had been her friends. Today, we make a simple request, Hyunwoo said. We ask for equal voting rights in this council. We ask to be treated as full members, not junior partners. The hall erupted in noise. Aliens chittered, roared, whistled, and made sounds that human ears could barely hear. Some laughed, which sounded like breaking glass or rushing water, depending on their species. Veltaran raised all 4 arms for silence. The noise stopped at once. The request is noted, he said. His voice carried no emotion. We will now vote. What happened next took less than 5 minutes. Veltaran called for those in favor to signal. A few dozen lights appeared around the hall, tiny glowing dots among thousands of seats. Those opposed, Veltaran called. The hall blazed with light. Thousands upon thousands of signals filled the space like stars in the night sky. The motion fails, Veltaran announced. Humans will maintain their current status as junior members. He looked down at Hyunwoo with what might have been pity. Your species is simply too young, Ambassador. You lack the wisdom that comes with age. Perhaps in another 1,000 years you will be ready for such responsibility. Around the hall, aliens nodded and made sounds of agreement. The Zephyrians fluttered their wing-like arms. The Centaurians clicked their claws together in approval. The massive Chronari simply sat like living mountains, their silence showing they agreed. Hyunwoo stood quietly for a long moment. The great hall waited for his response. Everyone expected him to argue. Humans always argued. They never gave up, easily. They would fight and debate and propose new ideas. Instead, Hyunwoo simply nodded. "We understand completely," he said. His voice was still calm, still clear. There was no anger in it, no sadness, no surprise. He turned and walked back, to his small group. Admiral Boram fell into step beside him. Engineer Jiho closed his data pad with a soft click. Dr. Onjung adjusted her bag on her shoulder. "That's it?" called out Council Member Ziktar from the Rigel system. "No argument? No appeal?" Hyunwoo paused and looked back. "No, honored member. You have made your position very clear. We respect your decision." "But surely you want to discuss alternatives," pressed Trader Hothron from the merchant worlds. "Perhaps a gradual increase in voting power? A probationary period?" "That won't be necessary," Hyunwoo replied. "We understand exactly where we stand." The human ambassador gathered his papers from the speaking platform. His movements were careful and precise. He made no wasted motions. Behind him, his team did the same. "When will you submit your next proposal?" asked Veltaran. He seemed confused by the human behavior. Usually, rejected petitioners begged for reconsideration. "We won't," Hyunwoo said simply. "Thank you for your time. We'll be departing shortly." The four humans walked toward the great doors of the hall. Their footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Every alien eye followed them as they moved. At the doors, Hyunwoo turned back one last time. He bowed slightly to the assembled council, a gesture of respect that was purely human. "It has been an honor serving with you all," he said. "We wish you well in your future endeavors." Then the humans were gone. The great doors closed behind them with a soft whisper of sound. In the hall, thousands of aliens sat in confused silence. Something had just happened, but none of them were sure what it was. The humans had accepted defeat too easily. They had been too polite, too calm. Veltaran called for the next item of business. Within minutes, the council had moved on to other matters. Trade disputes, border conflicts, and resource allocation filled the agenda. None of them noticed that it would be the last time they saw humans in the council halls. None of them realized that in less than 48 hours, their carefully ordered galaxy would begin to fall apart. The humans had said they understood completely. And they did. They understood that they were not wanted as equals. They understood that their contributions were taken for granted. They understood that no amount of service would ever be enough. Most importantly, they understood that it was time to leave. Captain Tae-min received the message while his cargo ship was halfway between Earth and the mining world of Kepler-7. The transmission was short and coded in a way that only human military personnel would understand. Protocol Exodus is now active. Begin immediate withdrawal to Sol boundaries. Confirm receipt. Tae-min stared at the screen for a full minute. He had hoped this day would never come, but every human in space service knew about Protocol Exodus. They had trained for it, planned for it, but never expected to use it. He turned to his crew of 12 humans. They were carrying medical supplies to treat a plague outbreak on Kepler-7. Thousands of aliens were depending on those supplies. "Change course," Tae-min ordered. "We're going home." His pilot, a young woman named So Young, looked confused. "Sir, what about the medicine for Kepler-7? "Someone else will have to handle it," Tae-min replied. "We have new orders." Across the galaxy, the same scene played out on hundreds of human ships. Cargo vessels carrying food, medicine, and technology turned around in the middle of space. Passenger ships dropped off their alien travelers at the nearest stations. Military ships protecting trade routes simply left their posts. Trade Administrator. Docthul first noticed the problem on his morning reports. The Zephyrian official had 6 arms and used all of them to work multiple screens at once. His office on Nexus Station overlooked the main docking bays where ships came and went every few minutes. Strange, he muttered to his assistant. 23. Human cargo ships have changed course in the last 6 hours. His assistant, a young Centaurian named Keyleth, checked her own screen. Maybe there's a problem with their navigation systems? All of them at the same time? Docthul's large eyes blinked rapidly. That seems unlikely. By the end of the day, the number had grown to over 200 ships. By the end of the week, every human vessel in space was heading back toward Earth and her colonies. Dr. Min Jun was finishing his shift at the Rigel Medical Center when his replacement failed to show up. He had been working on a cure for Zilithian bone rot, a disease that turned the victims' skeletons to powder. 3 Zilithian children were in the critical care unit, depending on his research. Where is Dr. Pak? Minjun asked the head nurse. He sent a message saying he was returning to Earth immediately, the nurse replied. She was an Altarian with blue skin and worried eyes. Something about family emergency? Minjun nodded slowly. He knew it wasn't a family emergency. It was protocol. Exodus. He saved his research files and backed up all his data. The cure was almost complete. Maybe another week of work would finish it. He labeled everything carefully and left detailed notes for whoever would take over. Then he packed his personal belongings and left the medical center forever. On the industrial world of Titan Beta, engineer Dong Hyun was the only human among the construction crew building a new power plant. The project was 90% complete and would provide energy for 12 million aliens living in the system. His alien co-workers found him cleaning out his tool locker. "Where are you going?" asked Supervisor Vexistar, a massive Chronari whose voice sounded like grinding stone. "Back to human space," Dong Hyun replied. He handed over the control codes for the fusion reactor he had designed. "Everything you need to finish is in these files. But you know this system better than anyone. The power coupling alone will take us months to figure out." Dong Hyun shrugged. "I'm sure you'll manage. Your people are very smart." Within days, similar scenes were happening all across the galaxy. Human doctors finished treating their current patients and then left. Human engineers completed their immediate tasks and handed over their projects. Human soldiers ended their tours of duty and went home. None of them caused trouble. None of them sabotaged anything. They simply finished what they were doing and left. The aliens barely noticed at first. Humans made up less than 3% of the galactic population. How much difference could such a small group really make? Commander Jae Sung found out exactly how much difference they made. He was responsible for maintaining the hyperspace beacon network in the Outer Rim. 67 beacons kept ships from getting lost in the vast emptiness between stars. Each beacon required monthly maintenance and weekly diagnostic checks. Jae Sung had a crew of 30 humans and 300 alien technicians. The aliens were good workers, but they didn't understand the quantum mathematics behind the beacon systems. Only humans seemed to have the right kind of mind for that kind of work. "Sir," reported Technician Eugene, "we've received orders to abandon all posts and return to Earth immediately." Jae Sung looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, hundreds of ships were traveling between worlds, depending on his beacons to guide them safely. If the beacons failed, those ships would be lost in hyperspace forever. "How long will the automated systems last without us?" he asked. "Maybe 3 months," Yujin replied. "The quantum crystals will slowly drift out of alignment, without human technicians to recalibrate them." Jae-sung nodded. He understood the implications. In 3 months, interstellar travel in this sector would become impossible. "Pack everything," he ordered. "We leave in 6 hours." The alien technicians watched in confusion as the humans loaded their equipment and personal belongings onto transport. Ships. They had worked together for years. Many had become friends. "You can't just leave," protested Chief Technician Mordock, an elderly Altarian. "What about the beacon network?" "I've uploaded all the technical manuals to your computers," Jae-sung replied. "Everything you need to know is in there. But we don't understand the quantum mathematics. We need you to explain it." Jae-sung paused at the doorway of his shuttle. "I'm sure your people will figure it out. After all, humans are just junior members of the galactic community. We can't possibly know anything that more advanced species couldn't learn." His words were polite, but there was something cold in his voice that made Mordock step back. Then the humans were gone, leaving behind empty workstations and confused alien technicians. On Earth, President Min-ho held an emergency meeting with his cabinet. Reports were coming in from across human space. Ships, stations, colonies. Everyone was following Protocol Exodus. "How many of our people are returning?" asked Defense Minister Hae-jin. "All of them," replied Foreign Minister Seok-jin. "Every human outside of our territory is coming home. We estimate about 12 million people. And they're bringing their knowledge with them," added Science Minister Bo-young. 3 centuries of research, engineering, and technical expertise that the galaxy took for granted. Min-ho stood by the window of his office, looking out at the blue skies of Earth. "Any word from the Council?" "Nothing yet," Seok-jin replied. "I don't think they've realized what's happening." "They will," Min-ho said quietly. "Soon enough, they will." In the depths of space, cargo ship Captain Tae-min watched Kepler-7 grow smaller on his rear cameras. The planet's surface was covered in dark spots where the plague had killed entire cities. The medicine in his cargo hold could have saved millions of lives. "Sir," asked pilot So Young, "are we doing the right thing?" Tae-min thought about the council vote. 300 years of faithful service, and they were still considered too young and stupid for equal treatment. "Yes," he said finally. "We're doing exactly the right thing." Behind them, Kepler-7 continued to die. Ahead of them, Earth grew larger with each passing hour. The Great Withdrawal had begun. The first power failure happened on Nexus Station exactly 14 days after the humans left. Station Chief Vorthak was reviewing supply reports when the lights flickered. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing his office in red warning colors. His 4 Altarian eyes blinked rapidly as he tried to understand what was happening. "Engineering report," he called through his communication device. "Sir, we have a cascade failure in the main power grid," came the reply from Chief Engineer Morthel. "The quantum fusion core is shutting down automatically." "What's the cause?" We don't know, sir. The systems are too complex. The human engineer Dong-hyun designed them, but he left no training materials." Vorthak felt a cold sensation in his stomach. "Didn't he leave technical manuals?" "Yes, sir, but they're written in human mathematical language. Our engineers can't understand them." Nexus Station housed over 2 million beings from 40 different species. It was the largest trading hub in 3-star systems. Without power, life support would fail within hours. "How long until emergency power runs out?" Vorthak asked. 18 hours, sir. Across the galaxy, similar problems were appearing everywhere humans had worked. Fleet Admiral Kethran of the Altarian Navy stared at his tactical display in growing horror. Red warning lights covered the screen like a disease. Ship after ship in his fleet was reporting the same problem. "The navigation computers are failing," reported his aide, Commander Tolvar. "Our ships can't calculate hyperspace jumps." "All of them?" "Every vessel that uses human-designed navigation systems." "Which is?" "All of them, sir." Kethran had commanded fleets for 50 years. He had fought in the border wars, led deep space exploration missions, and defended alien worlds from invasion. His ships were the most advanced in the galaxy, and now they were floating helplessly in space because human technicians were no longer there to maintain them. "Can our engineers fix the systems?" "They're trying, sir, but the quantum processors use human neural interface technology. Only human minds can properly calibrate them." On the medical world of Sanctuary Prime, Chief Medical Officer Hithvan faced a different crisis. The hospital complex treated patients from across the galaxy, dealing with diseases and injuries that affected dozens of different species. "Doctor," called Nurse Pelmoth urgently. "The pharmaceutical synthesizers have stopped working." Hithvan rushed to the medical production facility. The massive machines that created medicines sat silent and dark. These devices could produce any drug needed for any known species, a miracle of human biochemical engineering. "What happened?" Hithvan demanded. "The systems require daily recalibration," explained Technician Vulkar. "Dr. Minjun always handled that. We tried to follow his notes, but the chemistry is beyond our understanding." "How many patients need these medicines?" "Approximately 12,000, Doctor. Without the synthesizers..." Vulkar didn't need to finish. They all knew what would happen. In the council chambers, Speaker Veltaran was beginning to understand the scope of the disaster. Reports flooded in from every corner of the galaxy. Power grids failing, ships stranded, medical systems offline. "Trade routes disrupted. How is this possible?" he demanded of his advisors. "Humans make up only 3% of our population." Military advisor Zakren spread holographic displays across the chamber. Each one showed critical failures throughout the galaxy. "It appears, honored speaker, that humans were more integral to our operations than we realized." "Explain." "They didn't just work alongside our people. They designed the systems our people used. Our shipyards, our power grids, our medical facilities, everything bears the mark of human engineering." Science advisor Neldith activated another display. "This is a list of major technological advances in the last 3 centuries. 92% show human involvement. Usually they were the primary designers." Veltaran stared at the data in disbelief. "That can't be correct." "I've checked it 17 times, honored speaker. Humans didn't just fill positions in our society. They were the foundation that everything else was built on." Trade advisor Goltar added his own grim report. "Economic projections show complete commercial collapse within 60 days. Human ships carried 40% of all interstellar cargo. Human facilities processed 60% of manufactured goods." "And the hyperspace gate network?" Veltaran asked, though he already feared the answer. "Deteriorating rapidly," Neldith replied. "The quantum alignment crystals require recalibration every 37 days. The process uses human-developed mathematical models that our best scientists can't duplicate." "How long do we have?" "If Current trends continue. The entire network will be offline within 90 days. Veltaran sat in stunned silence. The hyperspace gates connected over 10,000 worlds across the galaxy. Without them, their civilization would fragment into isolated systems, cut off from each other by the vast emptiness of space. Meanwhile, in human space, a very different scene was playing out. Administrator Jin Wu watched cargo ships arrive at Luna Station, carrying returning humans from across the galaxy. The docking bays were crowded with people who had given up their lives among the aliens to come home. "How many today?" he asked his assistant. 47 ships, reported Coordinator Hyojin. "That brings our total to just over 8 million. Returnees. Any problems with integration?" "None so far. Everyone seems relieved to be back." Jinwoo nodded. He had been one of the planners for Protocol Exodus, working in secret for years to prepare for this day. They had built new cities, prepared new jobs, and created infrastructure to handle the massive influx of returning humans. But more importantly, they had brought back knowledge. Dr. Subin, now serving as Director of Xenobiological Research, reviewed reports from across human space. Every returning doctor, engineer, and scientist brought with them decades of experience working with alien technologies and problems. "Interesting developments," she noted to her staff. "Dr. Minjun's research into Zilithian bone rot is 95% complete. Dr. Young has finished her work on the Kepler-7 plague vaccine. Engineer Dong Hyun has designed improvements to quantum fusion that would increase efficiency by 40%. "Should we share these breakthroughs with the galactic community?" asked her assistant. Subin smiled coldly. "Why would we do that? We're just junior members of the galactic community, remember? We couldn't possibly have anything valuable to offer." Back in Council space, the first interstellar war in 2 centuries was beginning. The Rigel Confederation had always depended on Altarian protection. With the Altarian fleet grounded by navigation failures, Rigel's enemies saw an opportunity. Border raids escalated into full invasion as species settled old scores. Admiral Kethron received desperate pleas for help, but his ships remained helplessly anchored in space. "Sir," reported Commander Tolvar, "the Rigel defense fleet has been destroyed. Civilian casualties are estimated in the millions, and we can do nothing to help them." "No, sir. Our ships are effectively museum pieces without human maintenance." On Nexus Station, Chief Vorthak made the decision he had hoped to avoid. "Begin evacuation procedures. All non-essential personnel to the escape pods." "Sir," protested his aide, "surely there must be another solution." "What solution?" "We can't fix the power grid. We can't maintain life support. We can't even send a distress signal because the communication array uses human technology." "What about contacting the humans directly, asking for their help?" Vorthak had considered that option. "And what would we offer them? They asked for equal treatment and we refused. Now we want their help while still treating them as inferiors?" The evacuation of Nexus Station began that evening. 2 million beings crowded into evacuation ships, abandoning one of the greatest achievements of galactic civilization. As the last transport left the dying station, Vorthak looked back at the darkened structure. It had taken 50 years to build, and countless human innovations to make it work. The humans had destroyed it simply by leaving. In the Outer Rim, the hyperspace beacon network was failing exactly as Commander Jae-sung had predicted. Ships attempting long-distance jumps found themselves lost in the space between stars. Some would eventually find their way to inhabited systems. Others would drift forever in the void. Captain Rymoth of the merchant vessel Bright Wind realized. Too late that her navigation computer had failed mid-jump. Her ship dropped out of hyperspace in empty space, light years from the nearest star. "Where are we?" asked her navigator. "Unknown," Raymoth replied, studying the star charts. "The beacon. Network has failed. We have no reference points. Can we calculate a jump to safety?" "Not without the beacons. We're lost." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out as the infrastructure that humans had built and maintained for 3 centuries slowly crumbled. The council that had rejected humanity's request for equal treatment was learning the true cost of their decision, and the humans, safe in their own space, watched it all happen with quiet satisfaction. Council Speaker Veltaran had not slept in 3 days. His blue skin had turned pale, and his 4 arms shook with exhaustion as he reviewed the latest crisis reports. The Great Council chamber, once filled with thousands of representatives, now held fewer than half that number. Many species had simply stopped sending delegates. Their worlds were too busy dealing with collapsing infrastructure to worry about galactic politics. "The situation is worse than we feared," reported military advisor Zakrin. His voice was hollow with defeat. "The Centauri Union has declared independence from the Council. The Rigel Confederation no longer exists. Their worlds have been conquered or abandoned. 7 species have requested emergency evacuation assistance that we cannot provide." Economic Advisor Goltar stepped forward with his own grim news. "Trade between Council worlds has dropped by 87%. Most species are rationing food and basic supplies. The economic models predict complete societal collapse within 6 months." "And the hyperspace gates?" Veltaran asked, though he dreaded the answer. Science Advisor Neldith activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Red dots marked failed gate stations. There were hundreds of them, spreading like an infection across known space. "We've lost 63% of the network," Neldith reported. "The remaining gates show increasing instability. Our best estimates give us 3 weeks before total network failure." "What about our attempts to repair them?" "Every repair mission has failed. The quantum mathematics involved are beyond our understanding. We need human engineers." Veltaran closed his large black eyes. 3 months ago, he had dismissed humans as evolutionary inferiors. Now his entire civilization was crumbling because those same humans were no longer there to maintain it. "Contact the humans," he said quietly. "Sir, send a message to Earth. Request immediate technical assistance. Offer them whatever they want." "Communication." Advisor Feldak manipulated his console with trembling tentacles. "Sir, we're receiving a response from Luna Station." "Put it through." The image of Ambassador Hyunwoo appeared in the chamber. He looked calm and rested, sitting in what appeared to be a comfortable office. Behind him, large windows showed the curved surface of Earth's moon. "Speaker Veltaran," Hyunwoo said politely. "How can I help you?" "Ambassador, we need your assistance. Our infrastructure is failing. The hyperspace gates are shutting down. Millions of beings are in danger." Hyunwoo nodded thoughtfully. "That does sound serious. However, I'm confused about why you're contacting us. As you explained during our last meeting, humans lack the evolutionary maturity to handle such complex matters." Veltaran felt his pride crumble like ancient stone. We may have underestimated human capabilities." "Really? How interesting." Hyunwoo's voice remained perfectly polite, but there was something cold in his eyes. "So you're saying that the species you considered too young and immature to have voting rights actually built and maintained your entire civilization?" "Please, Ambassador, this isn't about politics. Billions of beings will die if we can't restore the hyperspace network. And I'm sure you'll find a solution. After all, you have the wisdom that comes with age. Perhaps in another 1,000 years you'll figure it out." Veltarin recognized his own words being thrown back at him. What would it take for humans to return? Return? Hyunwoo looked genuinely surprised. "Oh, we're not interested in returning. We're quite happy in our own space. We've discovered that we accomplish much more when we focus on our own development rather than solving everyone else's problems. But the galaxy needs human expertise. The galaxy made it very clear that human expertise was not valued. We simply listened to that message." The communication ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. In human space, a very different conversation was taking place. President Min Ho met with his cabinet in the secure conference room beneath the Capitol building on Mars. Through reinforced windows, they could see the red landscape dotted with new human settlements, cities built to house the millions of returning expatriates. "The alien governments are becoming desperate," reported Foreign Minister Seok Jin. "We've received 47 requests for technical assistance in the last week alone." Defense Minister Hae Jin shared her own intelligence. "Military conflicts are escalating throughout former council space. At least 12 wars have started since the infrastructure collapse began." "Any threats directed at us?" asked Minho. "Several species have suggested they might take human knowledge by force," Hyejin replied. "However, their military capabilities are severely limited without functional hyperspace travel." Science Minister Bo Young activated a holographic display showing human space. It was a small region compared to the vast galaxy, but it glowed with activity. "Our own development is proceeding ahead of schedule," she reported. "With all our experts working on human projects instead of alien problems, we've made advances in multiple fields, such as Dr. Subin's team has solved the aging problem. We can now extend human lifespan by several centuries. Engineer Dong Hyun has designed fusion reactors 50 times more efficient than anything we built for the aliens. Our shipyards are producing vessels that can cross the galaxy in days rather than months. And our population, growing rapidly. The returning humans have shared knowledge and techniques that we never fully developed while we were focused on alien needs. We estimate that within 10 years, human space will be more advanced than anything the galaxy has ever seen." Minho nodded with satisfaction. "And the aliens who are still requesting our help?" "We've prepared a standard response," Seok-jin said with a slight smile. "We inform them that such advanced problems are beyond the capabilities of a junior species, and suggest they contact more mature civilizations for assistance." Back in council space, the collapse was accelerating. On the industrial world of Forge Prime, Administrator Kolthek watched his manufacturing facilities shut down one by one. The massive automated factories had produced goods for half the galaxy, but they all used human-designed control systems. "Sir," reported his chief engineer, "we've tried everything. The control algorithms are too complex. Without human technicians, we can't even restart the basic production lines." "How long before our food supplies run out?" Kolthek asked. 6 weeks, sir. Forge Prime imports 90% of its food from agricultural worlds, with no manufacturing. To trade, they've stopped sending supplies. On the medical world of Sanctuary Prime, Dr. Hithvan faced a more immediate crisis. The pharmaceutical synthesizers had been offline for 2 months. Patients were dying daily from diseases that had been easily treatable just weeks before. "Doctor," pleaded a young Zephyrian nurse, "the Zilithian children in Ward 7. Without the bone regeneration treatments—" "I know," Hithvan said sadly. "There's nothing we can do. The human doctors took their knowledge with them. But surely they left research notes? They did. Detailed files describing exactly how to synthesize the treatments. But the chemistry involves quantum molecular manipulation that only human minds seem able to grasp. In the depths of space, Merchant Captain Rymoth and her crew had been drifting for 2 months since their navigation system failed. Their food supplies were nearly exhausted, and the ship's life support systems were beginning to fail. "Captain," reported her navigator, "we're detecting a signal." "From where?" "Unknown. It's not coming from any registered beacon. The signal pattern is different, more complex than our standard navigation aids." Rymoth studied the readings. "Can we follow it?" "I think so. But Captain, if this is a trap, we're going to die anyway if we stay here. Set course for the signal." Hours later, their ship dropped out of hyperspace near a system that wasn't on any of their charts. The planets gleamed with cities and orbital stations, all showing the clean, efficient design of human engineering. "This is Terran Control," came a voice over their communication system. "Unknown vessel, please state your business." "This is Merchant Vessel Bright Wind," Rymoth replied. "We're lost. Our navigation systems failed, and we've been drifting for 2 months." "Understood, Bright Wind. You're in human space. We can provide emergency assistance, but you'll need to leave once your ship is repaired." "Human space? But I thought humans only controlled a few minor systems. That was before we decided to focus on our own development. Please dock at Station 7 for emergency repairs." As Rymoth's ship approached the human station, she stared in amazement at what she saw. The technology was far beyond anything she had encountered in Council space. Ships moved with impossible grace and speed. The station itself seemed to bend space around it in ways that shouldn't have been possible. "How?" she whispered to herself. "How did they advance so far so quickly?" The answer came from Station Controller Jae Sung as their ship docked. "When you stop wasting time fixing other people's problems, you have a lot more energy to solve your own." Back in the council chambers, Velteron made one last desperate attempt to contact the humans. "Ambassador Hyun Woo," he pleaded when the connection was established. "The entire galactic civilization is collapsing. Surely you can't want billions of beings to suffer." "Of course not," Hyun-woo replied. "We sincerely hope you find solutions to your problems, but you could solve them easily." "Could we?" "I was told very clearly that humans lack the wisdom." 1 year after the human exodus, the galaxy had become 2 very different places. Admiral Boram stood on the observation deck of the newest human battleship, watching the construction of humanity's 3rd deep space colony. The ship beneath her feet was a marvel of engineering, sleek, powerful, and designed purely for human needs rather than alien requirements. "Status report," she requested from her aide. "Colony New Seoul is ahead of schedule," reported Captain Yu Jin. "Population now exceeds 2 million. The terraforming is progressing faster than our models predicted." "And the other colonies? New Busan and New Incheon are both thriving. We've also established research stations in 17 star systems. Dr. Subin's longevity treatments have been so successful that we're planning settlements designed for multi-century lifespans." Boram nodded with satisfaction. For the first time in 3 centuries, humans were building for themselves rather than solving alien problems. The results were extraordinary. "Any contact from the former council space?" "Merchant vessel Bright Wind stopped by last week. Captain Rymoth says the situation in her home system is getting worse. Food shortages, power failures, and constant warfare between surviving factions." "Did she request assistance?" "She hinted at it, but didn't ask directly." I think she understands our position. In the ruins of what had once been council space, the collapse was complete. Speaker Veltaran sat in his personal chambers, looking out at the dying city below his tower. Once, millions of beings from dozens of species had lived and worked together in the council capital. Now, fewer than 100,000 remained. Most of the alien species had retreated to their home worlds, if those worlds still had working infrastructure. Others had formed small regional alliances, trying to maintain some level of civilization with their limited knowledge and resources. Sir, his aide Mortel approached carefully. The evacuation ship is ready. Where to this time? Altaria Prime. The homeworld still has basic life support, though the cities are mostly empty. Veltaran stood slowly. His once proud frame was bent with exhaustion and shame. Any word from the outer systems? The Rigel sector is completely dark. No communications in 6 months. The Centauri Union split into 7 different governments, all fighting each other for resources. The Zephyrian Republic requested permission to cross human space to reach the Andromeda colonies. What did the humans say? They granted safe passage, but only for civilian transports. No military vessels, no cargo ships carrying strategic materials. Generous of them. Sir, they also offered to take refugees who want to start over in human space. Several thousand beings have accepted. Veltaran looked surprised. Really? Yes, sir. But they have to give up their citizenship in their birth species and become full human citizens. They have to learn human languages, human customs, and human laws. And some agreed to this? Many, sir. They say human space is the only place left where the technology still works and society functions properly. On Earth, President Minho received his monthly briefing on galactic affairs. The news was grim, but not unexpected. The former council territory has fragmented into approximately 200 separate governments, reported Foreign Minister Seok Jin. Most control only single star systems. Many don't have functional interstellar travel. Any threats to human space? None credible, replied Defense Minister Hae Jin. A few species have made aggressive statements, but they lack the ability to project force beyond their home systems. Our defensive perimeter is more than adequate. And our refugee program? Surprisingly successful, said Immigration Minister Jung Ho. We've accepted nearly 500,000 non-human refugees. Most are adapting well to human society. They seem grateful for the stability and technological advancement. Minho studied the reports. Any regrets from our former colleagues? Constant attempts at contact, Seok Jin replied. Just yesterday, we received messages from 12 different alien governments asking for technical assistance. We've maintained our standard policy of polite refusal. And our own development? Science Minister Bo Young smiled. Exceeding all projections. Without the burden of maintaining alien infrastructure, our research capabilities have expanded exponentially. We've made breakthroughs in faster-than-light travel, matter manipulation, and even preliminary work on dimensional physics. Meaning that within 5 years human technology will be so far advanced that the aliens couldn't understand it even if we wanted to share it. In the depths of space, engineer Dong Hyun put the finishing touches on humanity's latest achievement, a starship capable of traveling between galaxies in mere weeks. The vessel was a work of art as much as engineering, its hull flowing like liquid metal in patterns that seem to shift and change in the light. First test flight is scheduled. For next month, he reported to Captain Jae-sung. We'll explore the Magellanic Clouds, maybe find some new worlds that humans can call home. Any concerns about leaving this galaxy entirely? Why would there be? We've proven that we don't need the other species, and they've proven that they don't value our contributions. Better to find empty worlds where we can build something truly our own. Back on the agricultural world of Kepler-7, the plague that Captain Taman's medical supplies might have stopped had finally burned itself out, but not before killing 60% of the planet's population. Governor Hickstel stood in the ruins of the capital city, reading the latest message from his surviving colonists. Many were requesting permission to emigrate to human space. "Should I approve the requests?" asked his aide. Hickstel thought of the humans who had tried to bring medical supplies to his world, only to be ordered home by their government. "Yes, approve them all. Anyone who wants to leave should be allowed to go. But, sir, if we lose more population—" "Look around you," Hickstel said sadly. "What do we have left to lose?" On Nexus Station, now a dead hulk drifting in space, the automated systems finally shut down completely. The massive structure that had once been the trade hub for 3 star systems went dark and silent. In the archives of human space, historian Dr. Kyung-min was compiling the definitive record of humanity's relationship with the galactic community. Her research painted a clear picture of 3 centuries of human service, followed by ultimate rejection. "The irony is remarkable," she noted to her research team. "The aliens spent so much time looking down on humans that they never noticed how dependent they had become on human expertise." "Do you think they understand it now?" asked her assistant. "Some do. The smart ones figured it out when their worlds started dying. Others still think this is all some kind of human temper tantrum that will blow over eventually." "What about future? Contact?" Dr. Kyung-min pulled up star charts showing human expansion routes. "We're already beyond their ability to reach us. Within a generation, we'll be exploring other galaxies while they're still trying to figure out how to restart their power grids." Captain Taemin, now serving as commander of humanity's exploration fleet, stood on the bridge of his new ship as it prepared for humanity's first intergalactic voyage. Through the viewports, he could see the galaxy that had once been humanity's home. "Any last words for our former neighbors?" asked his communications officer. Taemin thought about the medical supplies he had carried away from the dying world of Kepler-7. He thought about all the humans who had spent their lives serving the galactic community, only to be told they weren't good enough for equal treatment. "Send a message to all human colonies and outposts," he said finally. "Inform them that humanity is officially closing this chapter of our history. We're moving on to bigger and better things. Should we send any final communication to the alien governments?" "No need. We said everything that needed to be said when we left." As humanity's ships jumped into hyperspace toward distant galaxies, they left behind a civilization that was slowly learning the true cost of taking others for granted. In the ruins of the council chambers, former Speaker Velteran sat alone among empty seats that had once held thousands of representatives. He had spent the last year trying to understand where everything had gone wrong. The answer was simple, though painful to accept. They had mistaken human kindness for human weakness. They had assumed that because humans were willing to help, they could be taken for granted. They had confused service with servitude. Now, as he watched the last functioning lights in the chamber flicker and die, Velteran finally understood what Ambassador Yunwoo had been trying to tell them. Respect wasn't earned through age or power or technological advancement. It was earned through character, through contribution, through the willingness to stand up for what was right. The humans had shown all of those qualities for 3 centuries, and when they were finally pushed too far, they had shown one more quality that the aliens had never expected: dignity. In complete silence, they had walked away. And in their silence, they had spoken louder than any words ever could. The galaxy would remember the lesson, even if it had learned it too late. Humanity, meanwhile, had already moved on to write the next chapter of their story among the stars, of distant galaxies, where no one would ever again mistake their generosity for weakness or their service for subservience. The humans had walked away, and they were never coming back.